first time she caught me staring, I felt my entire world collapse into a single humiliating second. Like every insecurity I had ever buried suddenly stood up and pointed at me. My hands froze mid-rep, my breath got stuck in my chest, and there she was, looking straight at me, not angry, not annoyed, just aware. And somehow that made it worse. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and those quiet moments that change everything, take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You never know who might need a story like this today. Her name, I would later learn, was Claire. But in that moment, she was just the girl who made my carefully controlled routine fall apart. I had been going to that gym in Denver for almost a year. It was my escape, my therapy, the one place where I didn't have to think about the mess my life had become. After my breakup with Rachel, after losing my job, after months of pretending I was fine when I wasn't, I needed something that felt steady. The gym gave me that. It gave me structure when everything else felt unpredictable. I went at the same time every evening. I used the same machines. I kept my headphones in, even when no music was playing, just so I wouldn't have to talk to anyone. It was safe, controlled, quiet. And then she started showing up. Claire didn't just enter a room. She changed it. Not in a loud, attention-seeking way, but in a subtle shift you couldn't ignore. She had this calm confidence about her, like she knew exactly who she was and didn't need to prove it to anyone. She laughed easily, smiled at people without hesitation, and moved through her workouts like she belonged there in a way I never felt I did. At first I tried not to notice her, but it was impossible. She became part of my routine without me wanting her to be. I found myself timing my sets around where she was in the gym, stealing glances when I thought she wouldn't see, memorizing little things about her without even trying, the way she tied her hair before lifting, the way she wiped down machines carefully even when no one was watching, the way she sometimes looked out the window between sets, like she was thinking about something far away. It wasn't just a crush. It was something deeper, something quieter. She made me feel awake. But I never planned to talk to her. People like Claire didn't talk to people like me. I was just a guy trying to rebuild himself, piece by piece, after everything fell apart. And then, one day, she caught me. I had just finished a set on the bench press when I looked up, and there she was, already looking at me. Not in passing. Not accidentally. Directly. Our eyes locked, and for a moment the entire gym disappeared. I quickly looked away, pretending to check my phone, my face burning with embarrassment. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. For the rest of that workout I could feel it, that awareness, like something had shifted, like a line had been crossed without a single word being spoken. I left the gym earlier than usual that day, unable to shake the feeling that I had somehow ruined everything. My one safe place now felt exposed, vulnerable. The next day, I almost didn't go back. But habits are hard to break, especially when they're the only thing holding you together. So I went. I kept my head down. I avoided looking in her direction. I told myself it didn't matter, until it did. Because when I finished my workout and stepped outside into the cool evening air, she was there, waiting. At first I thought it was a coincidence. Maybe she was checking her phone, waiting for a ride, or just taking a break. But when she looked up and saw me, and didn't look away, I knew it wasn't random. My heart started racing. My instincts told me to keep walking, to pretend I hadn't noticed. But my feet wouldn't move. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't frowning either. There was just this quiet determination in her eyes, like she had already decided something. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to explain myself. I wasn't ready to talk. I wasn't ready to let someone see me beyond the version I showed the world. But sometimes, life doesn't wait for you to be ready. I took a slow step forward, then another. Every instinct in me was screaming to turn around, to run back inside, to escape this moment before it could become real. But I didn't. Because for the first time in a long time, I felt something stronger than fear. I felt curiosity. And maybe hope. She didn't say anything right away. Neither did I. We just stood there, a few feet apart, the hum of distant traffic filling the silence between us. There was something strangely comforting about it, like the moment didn't need to be rushed. Like whatever was about to happen deserved its own time. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer than I expected. Not confrontational, not awkward, just genuine. And somehow that made everything harder and easier at the same time. because in that moment I realized she wasn't there to embarrass me. She wasn't there to call me out. She was there because she wanted to be. And that terrified me. Over the next few days, something unexpected began to unfold. It didn't happen all at once. There were no dramatic declarations or sudden transformations. Just small moments. Quiet conversations. Shared smiles that felt a little less accidental each time. I learned that Claire had moved to Denver a few months ago, that she worked as a physical therapist, that she loved early mornings and long walks and believed that people were capable of more than they gave themselves credit for. And somehow, without realizing it, she started believing that about me too. At first, I resisted it. I kept my guard up. I gave short answers. I avoided anything too personal, because letting someone in meant risking everything I had barely managed to hold together. But Claire was patient. She didn't push. She didn't demand. She just stayed. And slowly, piece by piece, I started to open up. I told her about Rachel, about the breakup that left me questioning everything, about losing my job and the months that followed, where every day felt heavier than the last, about how the gym wasn't just a place to work out. It was the only place where I felt like I still had control over something. She listened. Not the kind of listening where someone waits for their turn to speak, but the kind where they actually hear you, where your words matter. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel invisible. But the biggest challenge wasn't talking about my past. It was believing I deserved a future. There were moments when I almost pulled away completely, when the fear of getting hurt again felt stronger than the comfort of having her around. When I convinced myself that this was temporary, that it wouldn't last, that people always leave eventually. But every time I started to retreat, Claire did something unexpected. She stayed, not in a dramatic, overwhelming way, just in the quiet, consistent way that slowly builds trust. She showed up. She remembered things I said. She noticed when I was having a bad day, even when I tried to hide it. And over time, that consistency became something I couldn't ignore. It became something I needed. The night everything changed wasn't special in any obvious way. It was just another evening, another workout, another walk outside. But this time, when we stood there together, the silence felt different. It wasn't uncertain anymore. It was full of everything we hadn't said yet, full of everything we were both starting to feel but weren't sure how to express. And in that moment, I realized something I hadn't allowed myself to believe before. Maybe I wasn't as broken as I thought. Maybe I wasn't someone who had to stay stuck in the past. Maybe I was someone who could move forward. If this story is touching your heart, if you've ever felt like you weren't ready for something good in your life, take a moment to like, comment, and share. Your support might help someone else feel less alone. And before we reach the end, I have a special request. Comment below the word hope if you believe that even the most unexpected moments can change your life. Because sometimes it's not about being ready, it's about showing up anyway. Standing there with Claire, under the soft glow of the streetlights, I realized that the moment I feared the most, the moment she caught me looking, was actually the moment everything began. It wasn't the end of my safe world, it was the beginning.